Welcome to Super Chat's Annie Sunday. I guess we're gonna call this for now. We'll figure out something better later. I'm sure. I'm sure we will.
Yeah, completely impromptu. I found out we were doing this 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is every Sunday, Carlos and I get together and we watch anime for a few hours. We catch up on any shows that are currently airing, and then we catch up on shows that we missed that we always wanted to catch. And so we're just gonna go through everything that we watched today, talk about it real quick, and then I guess share it. So if you're watching this, then we did it. We're farther ahead than we thought. So we started off today. We've been watching Friren. By the way, I'll timestamp everything, but we're just doing like full spoilers basically. This is what we're watching as we watch it. I don't care about holding back really specifically. So this is a boilerplate warning. It's basically anime book club if we continue to do this.
Yeah.
Full spoilers are in effect at
Yeah.
all times.
We are watching both new and old things right now.
Yes.
So,
we'll give you as much warning as we can. Like I said, we'll timestamp everything, or I'll go through and timestamp everything as best I can. And yeah, this week we've watched 3 different shows.
yep, 3.
So we caught up on Friren. We got a little further in Jujutsu Kaisen, and we finished off Gunbuster, which we had started previously. So we'll start off with Friren. We only had one episode this week. It was episode 18, the mage exam episode, basically, or the beginning of the mage exams.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't really gotten too far into it. There's a very fast burb that they need to catch, is what's going on right now.
Yeah. It seems like this is going to be not like a super long arc, probably one more episode at most.
I would imagine so. And then we lost our priest last episode, or 2 episodes ago, something like that. He wandered off in a different direction to find his friend. So I feel like I feel like randomly he's gonna just show up again before too long.
Probably. I'm surprised he left. I thought he was. I mean, that doesn't really happen because he got a lot of like good screen time, and now he just walked off. We haven't seen anything of him yet again.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a couple different like priest characters wander through, but I figured we were gonna get a lot more of him, and then he's just gone off to do another thing. It feels kind of like a side quest, even though it's supposed to be his main quest.
Yeah.
But either way, we've got to start off with for the exams. Everybody was broken up into teams of 3. I'm guessing there's 17 teams because 17 times 3 is 50. No, that's not right, is it? So what times 3 is 57? Anyways, they're all in teams of 3. It doesn't matter. So Friren is teamed up with 2 girls, Levine and Kane, who are they just need to get married already. They fight all the time. They're super tsundere for each other. And the one girl was just like, when she was forced to compliment the other, was just like, "You're cute when you smile." And so just like, just get married. It's fine. It's all right. Open a small B&B in New Hampshire together. It's fine.
My favorite thing about this too is it's like there's only like 40 something of these in existence. People literally die from this, and then there's 2 like they look like they're 20-year-old girls just like grappling each other all the time and like screaming their heads off. And
Yeah, exactly. So
you're top mages.
So these 2 are teamed up with Friren, and basically this episode followed Friren and these 2 for the most part. The Kane got attacked by a flying bird monster, and then Friren saved her, and then we had backstory time. It was all really, I mean, it's Friren. It's all really well done. Fern, though, that's her name, right? I haven't screwed that up, have I? The mage girl. She got teamed up with someone who is obviously not very nice and has killed multiple people so far in the short time we've known her.
A psychopathic murderer that they said has literally killed somebody at these tests in the past.
Yes. So that's going to be interesting. I feel like next episode we're going to get more of their side of things, what's going on with them. I wouldn't be shocked if this was like a couple more episodes.
Could be.
Like 3 or 4, because we've got 2 different like things. We've got 2 different groups to follow. We've got more that we can look at.
And Friren's team seems like they didn't say what they're gonna do, but it seems like they know they already have a plan. They're as good as one.
Yeah. So their goal for the first part of the exam is there's these super fast birds, and if they have to catch one, put it in a cage, and then keep it, and then all 3 of them have to make it through the exam to the second day. And so far, what we know is they're under a barrier. has rained, but the rain didn't come through the barrier, and that has given Friren an idea. So I don't know what that idea could be, frankly, but I'm interested. I'm wondering if that's like maybe the birds tend to like settle down whenever it rains or something, and so
Oh, maybe.
they're like preventing that from being a thing that can happen. So maybe if they like, my idea is if they summon rain, maybe it'll calm, like it'll keep the birds in one place and they can capture them easier. Or they'll like, or they'll naturally want to get out of the rain, and they'll go into the cage or something. It's gonna be something like that. It's always something like that. You know what I mean?
It'll probably be something that makes the bird come to them.
Yeah, exactly. So either way, next week's episode is called Well Laid Plans, and I'm looking forward to it. Friren's been very solid since the beginning of this season, so last season even.
Yeah.
So yeah, any other thoughts about this episode?
Yeah, it was a good episode. It's one of the, I don't want to say not like, it's not a bad episode. It's really good still. It's just they're starting something new. So this episode with the exam, so we don't know what's going to happen yet.
It's a lot of introductions, a lot of beginnings. So we've got a lot of stuff to see yet. Next up, we switched over to Gunbuster. We'd watched the first 3 episodes previously. If you haven't watched Gunbuster in the past, I really recommend it. So yeah.
I mean, you haven't watched a show from 1988?
I know, and 1989. This is one of those classic anime that everybody always like. Growing up when I did, I've heard about Gunbuster so many times from so many people, but for a very long time it was impossible to watch it because the only way to watch it legally was to buy a DVD, and they had been out of print for so long by the time I'd like really been interested in this show that they were like $200 for a DVD of 6 episodes of anime.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Discotek got the rights a couple years ago, last year, somewhere in there.
A good guy, Discotek, picking up all the old stuff.
Yeah, and not only that, they actually dubbed it. So for the first time ever, it has a dub, which is how we watched it. It feels like a classic dub in some ways, but I think that's just because it's a classic anime. They did a really good job, I feel like, though, just in general.
It was, the dialogue in English was far less cringy than a lot of old stuff usually is.
Yes, exactly. They did a pretty good job, I feel like. Just in general, though, it's a classic anime. If you haven't watched it, then it's worth checking out. It's on Crunchyroll now, too. I have it on Blu-ray, which is how we watched it. But either way, episode 4 is Launch, the Unfinished Ultimate Weapon. This is the first time we actually see the Gunbuster mech.
Yeah.
Up until now, they've just been piloting regular little dinky 10-meter tall mechs or whatever. But this one, the Gunbusters, the big lads, 240 meters tall. I Googled it because I wanted to know how big this thing was.
Yeah.
So,
you know, what my big takeaway from this was how much Gurren Lagann literally just stole from this.
oh yeah, no, to say influenced is an understatement, basically.
Yeah.
And that's fine because it brought those concepts to a generation that had never seen Gunbuster, frankly, like me.
Yeah.
It's a good episode. We learn that the aliens have been laying eggs in stars and then blowing up the stars and stuff. There's a lot of these aliens, billions of them, and they're on their way to Earth. Main girl Noriko is currently dealing with PTSD, basically, because her partner died last episode. It's a guy named Smith.
Died because of her.
Because she didn't do anything to save him, basically. He could have died either way, but either way, she didn't help the situation. She froze really hard.
No. It's like, oh, her partner said, hey, when I say, come help me, come help me, he screamed. She stood there and did nothing, and he died.
Yep. And that is rough to deal with. So basically, at this point, the fleet has been out in deep space. They're going to warp back to Earth. In warp, they're attacked by aliens, and then everything is sideways. Nothing's working until Noriko basically gets her stuff together, says she's done crying, she's going to fight now, gets in Gunbuster, and goes out and saves the day. That's more or less the general plot line of it. So yeah, it's got some really good laser fight, basically.
Yeah.
The action in it's pretty solid. And then at the end, she's like reunited with Amano, her friend that is obsessed with the coach, who's their like trainer. But either way, so they get back together and they're partners again now. The entire reason she was partners with Smith was because Amano thought Noriko wasn't ready for space combat, and was sort of right. But now that she's got the grit and she's piloting Gunbuster, like, she's good to go.
Yeah.
I like this episode. It kept my interest, basically, is the way I'll say it. But just in general is like it's funny because these are like galactic level battles at some point. The last 2 episodes that we got to, there's like a 10-year time skip for some of the characters. The rest of the characters that were in space don't experience that. And then there's like this really solid moment of these characters realizing, oh, my friend that I left behind on Earth is 10 years ahead of me now. She has a kid. Like,
Yeah.
While the main character is probably 18, 19, her friend is now in her mid to late 20s and has a family and all this other stuff. We never see a father, I guess, for the kid, but still.
They mentioned there was a father, but
Okay.
But yeah, the show really starts playing around with the whole traversing space really screws with Earth time concept.
I mean, since episode 2, that's been in play to a certain extent, but now it's like it's really affecting the characters.
It's like an integral part of the story now.
Yeah.
Because part of what's happening is they're like going out and doing things in space, coming back to Earth. 10 years have passed. It's like, well, now you have 10 years of space development to pick up and then take back out with you into space again.
Exactly. We have now we have a 70-kilometer long ship and all this other stuff that has been in development. So basically every time they return to Earth, it's been 10, 15 years and there's been a huge advancement. And so what new technology gets brought to the fight? This was a moment also in this show where I was like, boy, these people love slapping each other. Just men slapping women, women slapping women. I'm sure some woman has slapped a man in this show at some point. But like it's such a strong trope in this where like characters get mad and then they're just slapping each other.
The good old Gundam standard.
Yeah, even
just punching everyone in the face.
Exactly. And even then, even when characters aren't mad at each other, sometimes they slap each other just for effect. It's just like this trope that hangs over this entire show, and every time it happens, I'm just like, drink, you know. But yes, they're back on Earth. Aliens are on the doorstep. They're on their way here. What will we do? Well, we're going to shoot a giant spaceship at them and then detonate it into a black hole. The Excellion, I believe, was the ship that they fired at the alien group that was approaching.
Yeah, because everything starts scaling like hard from here.
Yes.
This is, I think, where the satellite picks up, and it's like, we can see more aliens in the sky than space right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we are completely screwed. They are coming this way.
There's literally hundreds of millions of them in the sky.
Yeah. So we also get a cool fight in this one where we combine the mechs. One of... Oh, shoot. What's her name? I've lost her name. It is Amano, the secondary character. She has a breakdown halfway through this, and she's just like, by the time I get back, the man I love will be dead. And then the main character girl is just like, get your shit together. We got to fight or everyone's dead. And then they combine into one giant mech, and then they literally kick the shit out of their spaceship and the aliens. They hit it with an Inazuma kick, which is like the special attack of this show. It's so ridiculous, and I love it. But yeah, then they just laser and missile the ever-living shit out of a ton of aliens. They blow up the Excellion and make their escape, and that causes like a black hole that takes out 98.9% of the aliens that are attacking, something like that.
Which is still kind of unfortunate, because if you take out 99.8% of 500 million aliens,
there's still like hundreds of thousands at least.
Yeah,
like we're still in trouble is what you would think from that, right?
And they have the supplies to take out like a few hundred at this point.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, they get back to Earth. Coach is still alive, and Amano is just like, I love you, and then he just kind of stares awkwardly at her and doesn't say anything, but then they end up married. And then we move on to episode 6. It's a seamless move, except for the fact that suddenly we're in black and white, which I didn't understand at first. Apparently this was not a cost-saving measure, as I had assumed. After a bit of research online, it turns out that it was actually potentially more expensive to do black and white. But it was a stylistic choice, either way.
Yeah.
Is what I've been reading. Also, it's in widescreen now, which is really neat. So
for one episode.
Yeah, up until now, it's an anime from the 80s and the 80s, basically. And everything has been in a 4:3 like box resolution like you would expect an old television to be. But now, in this last episode, it's widescreen. So that's cool. It's a little different. The last episode does stand out. It's very dramatically shot, I guess. Composed, not shot.
With it being in black and white, it had like a lot more of a manga feel to it too.
Yes, it did. There was also like there was a battle that they just sort of implied with non-moving images as well.
They obviously just did not have the time, budget, or resources of some sort because
No, it's a dramatic. It's a artistic thing.
artistic thing to show the entire battle in about 30 pictures.
Yeah. So there's a 22-minute battle that's supposed to unfold and does, but we get like glimpses of it in non-moving images. The camera like pans across pages and stuff, and there's like dramatic effects,
Like
and things
actual
added.
hand-drawn pages.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was fine. It was different. It was neat. Again, artistic intent versus money or whatever, but it's a strange final episode for a show, I guess, but it's directed by Hideaki Anno, so he made Evangelion. What are you going to do? Apparently he has a history of doing this with final episodes of shows, so.
I mean, he does. It's not even like a mystery. It just everything he does ends up like this for the final part of it.
I think that's why he probably took a decade to make the last Ava movie, because he was like, I actually have to think about the ending this time and make an ending, because every time I get to this point, everyone gets mad. And so he pushed off that last movie for like a decade and made a Godzilla movie in the meantime, and then he came back to it and was like, all right, let's do this. Like, that's all I can figure about that last Ava movie. But either way, back to Gunbuster, which is what we're talking about. Yeah, we get back to Earth. There's a space bomb, a black hole bomb that we've made at Earth, and we ship it out to meet the rest of the fleet at the alien homeworld, which is at the center of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And we're going to blow up the alien homeworld / the middle of the Milky Way.
Repeat of episode 5, but with a much bigger bomb.
Yes, exactly. So we get there, and then there's some pilot changes. A lot of stuff happens, but the biggest thing is they get to the point of trying to detonate the bomb after this 22-minute battle. The bomb doesn't go off. It's at 98% yield, and they can't just like get it over the finish line. So they have to take the gunbuster, fly into the center of the bomb, which is the planet Jupiter, by the way. They encased the planet Jupiter and compressed it to make this black hole bomb, which is, in an anime full of technobabble, is just sick as fuck, in my opinion. Like, this is the scale we're dealing with here. They have to go into the center of Jupiter and kickstart the black hole bomb to get it to go. Everybody has to basically say goodbye to them at this point, because time dilation, which we've dealt with as a thing for the entire anime, is now like, people are like, you won't get out of here for decades to centuries. This will probably be the last time we see you. But then by the end of it, the bomb goes off. They warp out. It's 12,000 years later when they return to Earth. It's been
the two girls that went in
to
set it off.
Like a week for them maybe or something.
Yeah.
And as they come back to the Earth, they're like, oh God, is there anyone left? There's no lights or anything. And then as they approach, the lights light up and say, welcome back.
Yeah.
And then they eject from the what's left of the gunbuster and fly back to Earth. It's a nice little conclusion.
And
basically.
this is in color.
And this part's in color. Yeah, the only part of the episode that's in color is the like fly back to Earth and then the credits scene. Basically. Yeah, which did lend some impact to the letters lighting up, because they lit up in like red or orange kind of.
Yeah.
Again, it's a classic anime. You should watch it if you get the chance. Just because of how important it is and how impactful it is for the people at Gainax and everybody else who like worked on this. But it's also just an impressive anime for the time. I loved it.
Yeah. It was really well done for something from this time period.
Oh, yeah. So that takes us through Gunbuster. Any other thoughts about Gunbuster before we move on? Aside from the fact we now have to watch the Gunbuster 2 Die Buster.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll get to it, I'm sure. Yeah, next up we watched Jujutsu Kaisen. We were on episode 20 to start with.
Of season 1.
Of season 1, yes. We're still on season 1. We've got a lot of catching up to do, and we're working on it. But it's, we can only get through so many episodes in a day. We got through episode 22 today.
Yeah.
But episode 20 was the coat rack guy with the axe who's like, I want to make Gojo into a coat rack. He was fighting Guitar Grandpa. All of these are canon names, by the way.
They've done a good job at making characters that I was expecting nothing of to being actually entertaining.
Yes,
like
there's
Guitar
a lot of
Grandpa.
Came out of nowhere with a flying V. So yes, past that, we just had a really, really good fight against special demon tree lady.
Yeah.
That was really good. Gojo showed up and just wrecked everything at the end. Because of course he does, because he is like the unbeatable god character so far in this show. He's stronger than anyone or anything. And can he be trusted? Who knows? But either way, during this whole like kerfluffle that was going on, the rest of the special grade folks heisted all of the fingies from the Jujutsu sorcerers. So
Yeah.
they've stolen all of the what's his name? Sukuna. That's his name. His fingers, and also some other special grade cursed items and things.
Yeah.
So at this point, this has been a long series of episodes that are just fights, and like there's been a whole dramatic arc to this, and this is just the ending of it. This is just where it comes back to the next episode, which is a lot slower.
Yeah. This was some really good fights. I just I've heard everybody say the show has a little bit of a slow start. It's actiony, but it's just turn your brain off fun. And the longer it's been going, it's been getting progressively better, I think.
Yeah, the pacing really threw me off at first, but I'm coming around to it, I guess, a little bit. Or maybe the pacing's just getting better.
I don't know.
It feels like it's skipping around a little bit less.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels like they go from arc to arc and they don't do anything in between almost. I say that, but then the next episode is like just sort of a chill out episode. Everybody's recovering. They're eating pizza in bed. And then we have a baseball game a couple days later.
It's a lot of like retrospective stuff where they're thinking about what happened and like
lessons learned, where we're going from here, what the situation is. Just like it's a calmer episode, less fights.
Yeah.
Basically.
And with a comedic baseball thing thrown in for something to do while they're talking.
Which was great. Every character had a little blurb at the bottom of the screen at one point, and we learned some very interesting facts about some people. There's a lot of comedic relief.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Where are we at as far as best girl is concerned? So let's name some of the girls. There's Miwa. Now, she's my favorite. I like Miwa a lot. She's the blue-haired one with the katana.
I think she's my favorite too, honestly.
Like, she's really great. She's super entertaining and like just the most down-to-earth character. She's the one that like the first time we see her, she's fangirling over Gojo. And she just really wants an autograph. Like I've liked her from her immediate introduction, where she's just like really stoic while talking to the old guy, and then immediately is just like, I need his autograph when she's talking like with Gojo.
I love her character design a lot. It's not anything like spectacularly unique, but I don't know, I just like it.
Yeah, it's good.
And one thing that I've never been able to get out of my head, but probably the reason why you have a bigger connection to her in particular, because she looks exactly like that character from Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer.
Huh. I hadn't realized that, but
she looks exactly the same.
Now you've made me have to think about things. Isn't that unfortunate? How do we feel about Momo, the witch girl? Second best girl?
I like her.
I like her too, honestly. I think she's really entertaining because she's got that like, I don't care, go fuck yourself kind of like thing, where I don't know, it just seems like her attitude is just like, I'm just here. Like
I like her as a character. Her hair kind of bothers me.
Oh yeah. 2 brooms.
Yeah.
She's definitely got a couple brooms going. Yeah, I think Miwa's best girl. Well, I'm just gonna stick with it. But yes, this was the baseball episode. It was silly and dumb and out of nowhere. And the best part was when Toto got beaned. He got smacked upside the face with a pitch, and then everybody was like, nice pitch. Like every single person, because everybody hates him. And yeah, he's just this insufferable oaf, according to everyone, basically. So.
Well, I mean, his first interaction with everybody is to ask them really awkward questions and then yell at them when they answer wrong.
What kind of woman is your type? I like a tall girl with a large ass. Thanks, Toto. Good to meet you. You're fucking weird. Don't talk to me.
Well,
he's a strong reaction.
He's my favorite male character. So.
Dude, he's so ridiculous. And then we got to the end of the baseball game, and Tokyo won. Tokyo won the exchange event. Very nice. Very fun.
Yeah.
So after that, we moved on to episode 22. Origin of Blind Obedience was the name of this episode. This is the beginning of a new arc. Basically, the setup is that folks have been getting murdered outside of their front doors, which are left unlocked or open. And we end up at Fushigoro's middle school to track down where all of these people like originated this with. Turns out it all has to do with like a test of bravery or something that they have to do at a bridge nearby. And his sister has taken part. Fushiguro, as it turns out, has a sister, and her sister has taken part in this before, so she's under threat from this curse as well. It's like a delayed effect curse, basically. We get to the point where Fushiguro tries to go off on his own. The other two show up anyways to help him out, the other two being the other two main characters in the group. And they enter into this like semi-domain of this curse, which is a barnacle, which is gross and icky, and I hate it.
Barnacles are really nasty.
They're so gross. And then as they're about to fight the barnacle, a character that we get introduced to a little bit earlier shows up. He is just a random naked guy that is nailed to a wall when we first meet him. And then the special grade curses, that's what they are. They feed him a special grade cursed object, and then he turns into some sort of a monster. And then at the end of the episode, he shows up to also fight the main characters.
Yeah, with this barnacle-looking creature.
So now we've got two curses that they have to try and deal with at the same time. Main character Kun says he's going to fight the guy that just showed up, and the other two are going to fight the barnacle, basically is where we're at. So now it's time to fight. We're at a fight scene, except for it's not going to happen until next episode. So now we're all just waiting for the fight scene. And that was the last episode we got to watch tonight.
Yeah.
So the setup for this is really interesting. The fact that Fushiguro has a lot like riding on the line here is kind of neat. We're playing with his backstory and getting more information on him, and then just in general, it's a good setup. We're into the next arc now. We had our fun baseball episode. It's not quite as good as a beach episode, but it's pretty solid. And now we're moving on back to a new arc. So where are you at with this one?
We're kind of at an in between major arcs now. It seems I highly doubt this will actually lead into anything spectacularly big unless the big bads show up in the middle of this again, which they might.
True. So, just in general, Jujutsu Kaisen is one that Carlos and I both seem to be pretty hot and cold about. It's one of those ones where, like, once we start watching and we get into the characters again, whenever we fire these up, like, it's one of those ones that we're not really looking forward to, but whenever we start it, it's actually pretty good and carries us through, right? At least for me, that's the way it feels.
This is one of those shows out of everything that we've watched for a while. It's one of those. Sit down. It's like I'm not super excited for it. You watch it, you have a good time, and you don't even realize that 20 minutes have passed.
So yeah, once you start the episodes, it's good. It carries you through. Friren has been amazing from the word go, in my opinion. I've really enjoyed every episode we've watched of it. And then Gunbuster, like I said, classic. So, do you have any other thoughts when you want to wrap anything up there?
No, I'm just continuing to look forward to more Friren and finished up Gunbuster. So,
got that done. I would say that the thing that we want to hear about, because we're putting this out there, is what's good this season. We don't really have anything right now that's happening for us that's new and interesting as far as anime is concerned, past Friren. So what else is premiering and coming out this season that's really worth watching? I know that Leveling of a Hero or whatever, that isekai that's really popular is back, and people are talking about that. You have to prove to me that an isekai is worth watching before I will watch it.
Yeah, we could always pick up season 2 of Overlord.
I mean, so far that's been the best isekai that I've watched in a long time.
Yeah, and season 1 is okay. The beginning of season 2 is really bad. I'll pre-warn you.
Oh no,
it's universally known as like the worst.
The low point, right?
But overall, season 1 is still also like as a season, in my opinion anyway, is the slowest and worst season.
It makes sense because you're getting introduced to everything in the world and the characters, and
yeah,
I think my favorite part of the first season of Overlord was definitely when he was just like, "I'm a hypocrite," and then he just kills that one character off. So fucking good.
Yeah,
but yeah, again, isekais face an uphill battle with me personally. You have to convince me that they're good, but past that, like that's just my own personal like. I've got a bias there, and I recognize it. And I'm not changing it.
Yeah.
We did watch an episode or two of the refrigerator show. That was pretty good. Or not refrigerator, vending machine.
Vending machine.
That was pretty fun. Unfortunately, to me, when I think of isekais, it always comes like the one that comes to mind now, since we watched an episode of it as a joke, sort of, was the pig one. And that was so fucking uncomfortable, and I like hated that show so much by the end of the first episode. The character design was beautiful. Good job. But
good job, Fauna's illustrator.
That's literally the only reason I watched that episode, and I still felt icky by the end of it. So, if you enjoyed that show, this is not a personal reflection of you, but boy, I did not enjoy that show.
The main female character is cute.
There you go.
There you go.
Anyways, that's where we are with our anime. Where are you at with your anime? What's good this season? Let us know so we can pick up some other cool stuff that we can try and keep up with.
Yeah. Other two things we're looking at right now is maybe starting Kaguya Love is War and maybe starting Ancient Magus Bride, which especially once Friren is over, like even I would love to just start it at any point.
Yeah.
But they have like the same feel as each other.
Well, now that we've finished Gunbuster, there's not a whole lot. Like, I've got a list of a few other shows that we had started at different times or talked about. And there's a couple movies I wanted to watch. There's 2 Satoshi Kon movies that I haven't watched that I want to pick up. Tokyo Godfathers and Paprika. I haven't watched either of those, and I really want to watch those 2. And then there's a couple movies that I know that you had picked up in the past, like on Blu-ray or whatever, that I wanted to watch as well.
Padma Inverted. That's a really good movie.
Yeah, I've wanted to see that one.
Like, nobody knows about it, but it's a really good movie. Other one is, I think it's King of Thorn is what it's called. That sounds like
the one I was thinking of, yeah.
And that was an okay movie.
Okay, gotcha. We learned about it at the same time because we watched some AMVs at a convention at one point, basically.
It's an exceptional concept that was executed okay.
There you go. I'm interested to see it, but if it doesn't like hit the screen anytime soon, I'm not like pushing for it, basically. And then on a personal note, I need to finish watching through Noir, which I've started at some point a little while ago, and it's really an interesting anime to watch. And then I also need to catch up on all the latest episodes of Bleach because, boy, I was excited for Thousand Year Blood War, and then it came out and I haven't watched it. So, but yeah, all that aside, if there's cool stuff coming out, let us know. All right? And we'll see you next time if we do this again. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya.